I was the only one alone on Christmas Eve. My cute neighbor knocked. "Get your coat, you're coming." Christmas Eve has a strange way of making loneliness feel louder. That year I was 31, newly single, and living alone in a small apartment. Outside, snow drifted softly past the windows. Inside, the only sound was the hum of the refrigerator and an old movie playing on TV. Everyone else seemed to have somewhere to be. My parents were visiting relatives across the country. My friends were spending time with their families. Social media was full of smiling faces, decorated trees, and crowded dinner tables. And then there was me, sitting alone with a frozen pizza and a cup of coffee. I kept telling myself it didn't bother me, but it did. The clock on the wall read 7:42 p.m. when someone knocked on my door. I frowned. Nobody visited me unexpectedly. When I opened the door, I found my neighbor Emily standing there. Emily had moved into the apartment across the hall 6 months earlier. She was cheerful, kind, and somehow managed to brighten every room she entered. She was wearing a red winter coat, a knitted scarf, and a smile that seemed completely unaffected by the freezing weather. "Why are you still here?" she asked. I blinked. "What do you mean?" She looked past me into my apartment. The untouched pizza box on the table probably answered her question. Her smile softened. "Oh no." "What? You're spending Christmas Eve alone?" I shrugged. "It's fine." She stared at me. Then she laughed. "No, it isn't." Before I could answer, she pointed down the hallway. "Get your coat." "What?" "Get your coat." I folded my arms. "Why?" "Because you're coming with me." I laughed nervously. "Emily, that's nice, but..." "No excuses." "I'm serious." "So am I." She stepped closer. "My family always leaves one extra chair at the table." I stared at her. "What?" "My grandmother says you never know who might need a place." For a moment I couldn't speak. Nobody had invited me anywhere. Nobody had even asked if I was okay. But here was Emily, acting as though taking me home for Christmas was the most natural thing in the world. "You don't have to do that." "I know." "Your family doesn't even know me." "They will in 20 minutes. I laughed despite myself. She pointed toward my closet. "Coat." 10 minutes later, I found myself sitting in her car. Snowflakes drifted through the headlights as we drove across town. I kept wondering if this was a mistake. Maybe her family would think I was weird. Maybe I'd feel like an outsider. Maybe I'd ruin their holiday. As if she could read my thoughts, Emily glanced at me. "Stop worrying. You've been staring at the dashboard for 6 straight minutes." I sighed. "Your family is going to think this is strange." Emily smiled. "They're going to think you're hungry." Half an hour later, we arrived at a large house, covered in Christmas lights. Warm yellow light glowed through the windows. I could hear laughter from inside, before we even reached the front door. My stomach tightened. Emily noticed. Without saying anything, she gently squeezed my arm. "It's going to be okay." Then she opened the door. The smell hit me immediately. Turkey, cookies, fresh bread. The kind of smells that make a house feel like home. People filled every room. Children ran through the hallway. Someone was singing in the kitchen. An older woman looked up from the dining room. The moment she saw Emily, she smiled. Then she noticed me. Without hesitation, she walked over and hugged me. Actually hugged me. "You must be the extra chair." I laughed in surprise. "What?" She smiled. "I'm Emily's grandmother." Then she pointed toward the dining room. "We've been saving a place for you." Something tightened in my chest. I hadn't realized how lonely I'd been until that moment. Dinner felt like stepping into another world. Nobody treated me like a stranger. Nobody made me feel awkward. They asked about my job, my hobbies, my favorite movies. Before long, I found myself laughing harder than I had in months. Hours passed. Stories were shared. Games were played. Hot chocolate appeared from somewhere. For the first time all year, I stopped feeling alone. Near midnight, everyone gathered around the Christmas tree. Gifts were exchanged. Children tore wrapping paper apart. The room filled with excitement. I quietly stepped back. This part wasn't for me. I was just grateful to be there. But then Emily's grandmother called my name. I turned around. She held out a small wrapped box. My eyes widened. "Oh no, I can't." "Yes, you can. I don't have anything for anyone." She smiled. "This isn't a transaction." The room grew quiet. Dozens of people watched. Slowly, I accepted the gift. Inside was a simple silver ornament, a small engraved snowflake. Attached was a handwritten note. I unfolded it carefully. It read, "No one should be alone on Christmas." Emily was watching me, smiling. For a second, neither of us spoke, but somehow she understood exactly what I was feeling. The drive home was quieter, not awkward, comfortable, the kind of silence shared between people who don't need to fill every moment with words. When we reached the apartment building, I turned toward her. "Thank you." She smiled. "Told you it would be okay." "No," I shook my head. "You don't understand." Her expression softened. I continued. "Tonight was the first time in a long time that I felt like I mattered." For a moment, she didn't say anything. Then she looked down, almost shy. When she looked back at me, her eyes were shining. "You always mattered." My heart skipped. The world seemed strangely quiet. Snow drifted around us beneath the streetlights. Then she laughed softly. "Besides, M.P. What? What? If I left you alone on Christmas Eve, who knows what kind of terrible frozen pizza choices you'd make?" I burst out laughing. She laughed too. And somehow the distance between us felt smaller. Much smaller. Before getting out of the car, I looked at her. "Emily? Emily, yeah? I'm really glad you knocked on my door tonight." Her smile grew. "So am I." The next Christmas Eve, I wasn't alone. In fact, I was sitting at the exact same table, in the exact same extra chair, except this time, Emily was sitting beside me. And when her grandmother winked and asked whether we finally tell everyone we were dating, Emily squeezed my hand under the table. And neither of us denied it. The end.